I knew a man once down in Texas called Johnny Ringo.
Hey there YouTube, this is Jeff aka 101 Bronson back here today with the next Sergio Corbucci spaghetti western movie review, and today we're going to be talking about Ringo and his Golden Pistol from 1966, directed by Sergio Corbucci and starring Mark Damon as the titular character, Johnny Ringo in the English dub. But I prefer the Italian title for this movie actually. I prefer the title Johnny Oro, which of course Oro is, I think, both Italian and Spanish for gold, so it's Johnny Gold. I prefer that title. This makes it sound like sort of a James Bond movie, which, by the way, I was thinking of Bond a lot during this movie, especially of the movie Goldfinger, because the character that Mark Damon plays, Johnny Oro or Johnny Ringo, he loves gold. He has a golden pistol, but I believe he also has golden spurs, golden like cufflinks and stuff like that. And every time he was like talking about gold, his obsession with gold, and fondling his golden gun and whatever, I was like, Goldfinger.
Goldfinger.
I was like, this is from '66, so yeah, Goldfinger definitely was around when they made this movie, because that's from '64. But anyway, I really enjoyed this movie, guys. I really enjoyed. I think this is an entertaining Corbucci movie, and yeah, I'm gonna look forward to discussing this one here in the review. Let's get into the story and the plot. Name some of the other people in this movie. There aren't many spaghetti western regulars or famous faces. I mean, there's a couple if you pay attention, but I'm just going to list off a couple of people that are in here. Movie stars Mark Damon as the titular character, as I mentioned before. We have Ettore Mani, I hope I pronounced that right, as the sheriff, Bill Norton. Valeria Fabrizi as Margie, who was sort of the main like love interest female role. We have Franco De Rosa as Juanito Perez, the main villain actually in the movie. We have Giulia Rubini as Jo Norn, the wife of the sheriff. Luis Lodi as Stan Norn, who is the little kid, the son of the sheriff. And there's one recognizable face. He was Giovanni Cianfrigila. Again, I probably butchered that. He was credited in the movie as Ken Wood, and a pseudonym, of course. He played the character of Sebastian, sort of like the main secondary villain, the Native American leader. I recognize him from another spaghetti western, Kill 'Em All and Come Back Alone, which was directed by Enzo G. Castellari. Probably came out after this, and I believe that's from '67 or '68. That one starred Chuck Connors. It was like a man on a mission spaghetti western, sort of like the Dirty Dozen of spaghetti westerns. Really enjoyed it, but he was in that, and he had a memorable role in that movie. I recognize him in this one. Sort of played the same role. I believe in Kill 'Em All he also was a Native American character. But that was a recognizable face. Now let's get into the story. The film's story deals with a bounty hunter, Johnny Oro, played by Mark Damon, who kills three Perez brothers after the wedding of the oldest brother. The fourth and youngest brother of him, Juanito, is spared because he has no price on his head. Johnny Ringo is a man of principle. He doesn't kill people that don't have a price on his head. Juanito assembles a gang of Mexican outlaws and renegade Indians and swears revenge. When Johnny is thrown in jail for the use of dynamite in a town where firearms are not allowed, Juanito threatens to raid the town if Johnny isn't handed over to him. So that's a pretty interesting plot. I liked it. I liked it. Basically, the movie, wouldn't have happened if Ringo just killed everyone in the beginning of the movie, if he had killed the younger brother as well. But like I say, he's a man of principle. It's a matter of principle. And he doesn't kill people if they don't have a price on their head. I thought that was an interesting way to tell the story. He's a man of principle. I liked it. Now, this gets into my next point. This being a Ringo movie in the name, Ringo and the Golden Pistol. This was made, of course, in '66, or it was released in '66, I should say. Actually, it was made before Django, which also was from '66, but it was released afterwards for some reason. but actually it's definitely pre-Django in terms of making the movies for Corbucci. But of course, in '65 we had the two very successful Giuliano Gemma movies, the Ringo movies, A Pistol for Ringo and The Return of Ringo, which both of those movies were very successful Italian westerns, certainly in Italy. So there was a lot of movies that copied Ringo in the title. This was one of them. Of course, like I said, the Italian title is Johnny Oro, so I don't think it was the intent to be a Ringo ripoff, but then the character is still, called Johnny Ringo. At least in the English dub, I have not seen the Italian dub. I don't know what he's called in the Italian dub, but it could have been that just it was for the U.S. market that they were like, well, those Ringo movies, they were quite popular. Let's name this a Ringo movie. It could have been a case like that, or it was Corbucci's intent to make a profit of the Ringo name. I don't know. Maybe some of you guys that have seen this movie and are familiar with the Italian version and stuff like that. Maybe you guys can let us know. But yeah, great story. I like it. It wasn't. I mean, it's not a story that's gonna win an Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay or anything, alright? But it doesn't need to be. It's a damn entertaining movie. There were some great action scenes in here, and I think as I'm looking over my list of what I wrote down of notes, during the movie, I think as I watched it, I think this is the first Corbucci movie where his style really came through. Obviously, it was perfected with the movie he would do after this, Django. But I think this is the first one where his style is clearly there. You can see it. The action scenes are fast-paced, lots of cutting, quick zoom-ins. Of course, that's not a thing original to Corbucci. I mean, if you watch a lot of these Italian westerns, I mean, Sergio Leone always had the quiet zoom-ins. He didn't really do it fast. He did it occasionally, but he usually had the quiet zoom in on the eyes and stuff. With Corbucci and a lot of other Italian movies, it's just quick, very rough zooms. Like I said, I wrote down some positives. Like I said, the action scenes were great, especially the finale. I don't think I should remind people, but this is again going to be a mild spoiler review. I am going to talk about some stuff that happens in the ending. I might not reveal the full ending, but I mean, there's something really cool that happens in the ending. I just got to talk about it. So yeah, like I said, this is the first one where Corbucci's style is definitely there. I thought Mark Damon was very well cast as the lead. Now, the story goes that during this movie, or sometime after production on this movie, Mark Damon and Sergio Corbucci actually sort of teamed up and they came up with the Django story together. I don't know if that's true or not, but apparently Mark Damon was going to be originally cast as Django, which of course is now famously played by Franco Nero. Yeah, that would have been something. I liked him in this movie, but I don't know if he would have been a credible Django, to be honest. I don't know. I've seen a couple of Mark Damon's westerns. He has been also in Johnny Yuma, and I know he's been in Kill and Pray, aka Requiescant. Hope I pronounced that right. I believe there was 2 or 3 others that he did, but what I have seen of Mark Damon I like in his spaghetti western, but still as Django, it's just so hard to imagine anybody but Franco Nero playing that part. I just don't see him as Django. I liked him here as Ringo, as Johnny Ringo, but not a Django, no. But yeah, I liked him in this movie, like I said. I wasn't too crazy about the mascara that he had on, which was, I mean, yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. But his role in it, I liked. The music score in this was okay. There was a lot of whistling. This was where it had like a sort of spaghetti-esque score. There was still a little American feeling in the very beginning, where we have this vocal song, Johnny Ringo. It's one of those songs. It's not quite as catchy as Django, but I thought it was okay. I thought it was better than the vocal songs for the 2 official Ringo movies, Pistol for Ringo and The Return of Ringo. Of those 2, I do like The Return of Ringo better, and both in song as in movie wise. But Yeah, this was a better song. It was okay. The score itself, like I said, had some whistling, guitars, all the stuff that you want for a spaghetti western score. It was a fine score. Nothing to write home about, but it fit the movie. If I came across it on a soundtrack CD somewhere for a couple of bucks, which probably will be unlikely, I would definitely buy it to add to my spaghetti western soundtrack collection. But anyway, let's move on. There's this sheriff in the movie, the Sheriff Norton, and he has this kid who sort of idolizes Mark Damon's character, Johnny Ringo. A lot of people would say the kid was annoying. I actually like the kid, and I recognize him from somewhere. And maybe you guys can let us know which other spaghetti. I'm pretty sure this kid was in another spaghetti western, or maybe even a couple. I do recognize him, I know that. And I didn't mind the kid. Like I said, a lot of people would say he was annoying. No, the kid in Fistful of Dollars, that was an annoying kid. This kid is definitely way more, or way less annoying than that kid. Yeah, I didn't mind him. The main love interest in this movie, the character of Margie, well, not really love interest, but she would fit the bill. There aren't really romantic scenes with her, but I liked her. She was a very good looking actress. There was some like sort of comedy elements in this movie, not slapstick comedy, not in your face comedy. But there was one scene in the bar that was very early on in the movie, in which the Damon character sort of gets into it with this guy behind the bar in the saloon. He's like, I want water. They're like, you know, we only use water to wash the hogs, I believe was the quote. And then Damon says, oh, that's why you're looking so clean. And then they sort of had this stare off, and he's like, the bartender brings him the water. I don't even think he was the main bartender. I think he was working for the other guy who was behind the bar, but he brings the water and he throws it in Johnny Ringo's face. And in return, he's like, all right, that takes care of the water. Let's do the whiskey now, because he ordered the whiskey as well for the Margie character. And then he's like, okay, put it in his glass. And then he sort of mixed this weird cocktail together, if you will, which I thought was a funny scene. He's like, okay, throw some Tabasco sauce in there, throw some milk in there.
Good, and now a little mustard, please.
How's that? You say mustard?
That's enough. Okay. Some milk, please. That's good. And now some Tabasco sauce. The hottest you have, if you don't mind.
Tabasco?
I believe they threw everything in there but the kitchen sink. I think they even threw some eggs in there. And I believe so basically in return to getting water splashed across his face, he mixes this sort of very disgusting drink, and he throws that in the guy's face in response. So I thought that was cool. I thought sort of that got a chuckle out of me. I like that scene. Now we gotta go into spoiler territory, and I gotta talk about the ending of this movie. And so I'm gonna give a warning. This is from here on, it's gonna be spoiler talk. If you want to go towards the conclusion of the review, I will leave timestamps and everything. So, but anyway, final warning for those that don't want to be spoiled. Alright, so the ending of the movie. Alright, so I got to set it up a little bit. Johnny Ringo, played by Mark Damon, he's, I believe I mentioned it in the description of the plot, but he's captured, or not captured, but he's put in jail for throwing some dynamite, and there are no weapons allowed in this town. So the sheriff gives him a couple of days in jail, and in the meantime, you know, the baddies, the younger brother, who swore revenge on Ringo, they're sort of raiding the town. Ringo is still in jail. But then, you know, the bad guys come into town, you know, plenty of Mexicans and Native Americans. And there's this huge, big shootout in the town, and the sheriff gets in, and, you know, the other guy who was in jail with Ringo, I forgot the character's name. He was sort of like the comic relief of the movie. He gets into it, and all during this big gunfight, which is very well edited, very well shot. It's classic Corbucci, actually, that scene. All during this, Ringo is in jail, and then finally, after about 5 or 10 minutes of just shooting between the sheriff and his deputy and whatever, his deputy, I say that in quotations, Ringo decides, hey, sheriff, are you gonna let me out so I could do something? And I was like, yeah, it's about time. If there was one negative, if I sort of had to nitpick a little bit about this movie, Ringo's, the Mark Damon character, Ringo, Johnny Oro, he spends way too much time in jail in this movie. He should have gone into action a little bit sooner. But anyway, that's just a little nitpick. I still liked the movie, like I said. I still liked the story that he was in jail. But they should have released him a little bit earlier into the gunfight. But once he does, gets out of the jail, or the little prison within the sheriff's office, I should say, the action just goes over the top and amazing, in my opinion. He joins the fight, shooting, boom, 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 a lot of shooting. And then, the Indians, they want to light the cannon, which is outside, which is a pivotal plot point that I'm not going to give away. They want to light this antique cannon that they have out in the street. Well, I guess for us it's antique. For them it was just a couple of years, maybe earlier or something, I don't know. But then Johnny Oro, Mark Damon, he froze this sort of explosive bottle which he had used before in the movie. So it was set up. He sort of had this, like, one of those bottles that they used to drink water out of, in these Western movies. I don't know the right word for it. A canteen. Oh, crap, yeah, that was it. There's me and my English again. A canteen, but somehow it's filled with some explosive material or whatever. But he froze that, and like boom, this huge explosion goes off into the in the town, like, and it goes on for a couple of seconds. It's like boom, boom, boom. Michael Bay would have been proud, if you know what I mean. That was fucking awesome. And it's something I haven't seen too much in these old westerns, these big explosions. I mean, obviously in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, there's the bridge exploding, and there's a lot of cannon fire in that movie in particular. But I've never really seen like this sort of explosion where it's like boom, 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 and it it makes this fall down, and it even goes into the sheriff's office a little bit. It blows up the doors of some buildings and the windows and everything. I thought that was really, really cool. And then after that, there's the final confrontation between the younger brother and, I'm just going to call him Ringo for the sake of convenience, which I thought was a great final confrontation. I mean, it's definitely not a big final showdown or duel like in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, or The Mercenary, or whatever, or even Once Upon a Time in the West, of course. But it's a pretty badass confrontation, I like the way that Ringo sort of took care of the younger brother. In the end, the way he dealt with it. He used this cheap little trick. He had something in his mouth that was very shiny, probably a gold thing, something. And it sort of reflected off in the baddie's eyes, and he was a little bit blinded because of the reflection of this shiny thing. And then he went for his gun, which had he had been forced to drop on the ground, and then he just shoots him a couple of times. There's a headshot. Like I said, this is the first movie where Corbucci style is definitely evident, and the violence is there. There's also a great axe kill in this movie, which Corbucci did it a little bit better in a later movie. We're gonna get to that one, but I thought that was a pretty cool scene, pretty cool and violent little bit there. Anyway, so yeah, that's pretty much all that I wrote down. Positives and negatives. I talked a little bit about some nitpicks. So that's Ringo and His Golden Pistol, a movie which, like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed, and I think is highly entertaining, and that I definitely recommend to people to check out. If you have, I know this isn't a particular fan favorite among the Corbucci fans or even spaghetti western fans, but I just really don't see many faults with this movie, to be honest. For me personally, this is sort of what I'm looking for with a spaghetti western. This one still at times feels a little bit American, but like I said, this is definitely the first one where Corbucci style is introduced and for the first time it's prevalent in the movie. But this is just what I'm looking for when I watch a Sergio Corbucci spaghetti western. Violence, you know, entertaining scenes, a little bit of a spectacle, I guess, if you want to call it that. With definitely with this finale. Out of the Corbucci finales, I mean, obviously nothing is going to top the Great Silence, but I think this one will be up there with the very explosive finale. I mean, it's just one of those things that stick out. I mean, Corbucci is a master at his endings anyway. I mean, even the Django finale or Navajo Joe or whatever, he knows how to end a movie. Let's put it that way. And Ringo and his golden pistol with the final set piece, man. Anyway, this movie, final score, this movie gets a 3 stars out of 5 for me. A very good score. Which if the previous couple of movies we covered were considered below average, this is definitely the first movie where it's average or slightly above average, if you will. Because like I said, I had a fun, entertaining ride with this movie. This was my second viewing of it for this review, but I really enjoyed it once again. And this definitely will be a Corbucci movie that I will come back to occasionally, as it is definitely one of the better ones, for sure. And I think when I first got this movie in February of this year, I was like, I got a feeling this is going to be a Corbucci movie that's going to rank higher than something like The Specialist or whatever. And I believe I said back then, I think this is going to fall into the middle tier of Corbucci's movies, and yeah, how right I was. I mean, look at the place it's at. But yeah, Ringo and the Golden Pistol, really enjoy it, recommend it. Gets a 3 star out of 5 rating for me. And yeah, that concludes my thoughts on this movie. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. As always, we will reveal what we will be taking a look at next week. If you guys join me next week, we will be taking a look at the 1967 Sergio Corbucci spaghetti western, The Hellbenders, starring Joseph Cotten. Really good movie, this one, but we will save for thoughts for next week. Hope you guys enjoy it. As always, this has been 101 Bronson saying take care, stay safe and healthy. See you in the next one. Adios, compañeros.
Hellbenders, starring Joseph Cotten as the rebel with a cause that plunges the Southwest into a bloodbath.